All right. What are you going to do? Eagles lose this one. Tough one to swallow. If you told me we were going to score 29 points today against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh and lose, I would have told you were fucking nuts. Travis Fulgham, we found a diamond in the rough. Looks like the next big wide receiver for our team. Unfortunately, Zach Ertz looks like a bum, completely regressed. And the worst part about this is we can't get as much value for the guy anymore because teams see this. And he wants to get paid. Not going to get paid by us. This is definitely his last year here. And, I do like the heart. I will say I do like the heart by the team. But at the same time, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. We had this game gift wrapped. We had Jake Elliott going for that 56-yard field goal, missed it, completely shanked it. And I have no words, Zach. I literally have no words for this because, week in and week out, this team needs to win games. I said this on my show. I was like, they need to win this game. I don't care if it's a conference game or not. Especially with how bad the division is, you need to get some momentum. And we had this game, and having Claypool go off for 4 touchdowns today, not adjusting, not doing whatever you can to take him out of the game. Have him get 4 touchdowns today is completely embarrassing if I'm Jim Schwartz. All right, because Jim Schwartz, he did absolutely nothing to adjust to this guy's play on the field. And I know a lot of people in the comment section are saying Fulgham is good. We have a star, but this team right now, they look like a pile of shit. Like they really do. And the pressure, I wouldn't say it wasn't getting to Big Ben, but at the same time, it's like Big Ben looked like 25-year-old Big Ben today. It was disgusting. And I just don't know what to say anymore. It's sickening. It's sad because this Philadelphia Eagles team, they could have won this game today. And they just left it on the table. So I'm going to bring in my boy, Zach Harris. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing all right. There was a lot to like about this game. The issue for me is that we're 5 weeks into the season. There's no such thing as moral victories, especially this late into the season. Without the preseason, whatever, you want to chalk up the first couple of games to them trying to get on the same page. Obviously, the receivers have been different this year compared to last year, so it took a while for Wentz and them to get on the same page. But then you get into week 5, there's no more excuses. There's no moral victories. You have to come up with wins. At some point, we need wins and not moral victories. And, there's a lot of good things to take away from this game. I told you going into this game, and you agreed with me, Chase Claypool was going to be the guy to look out for. And unfortunately, me and you were looking out for him, but the Eagles defense was, especially that third down play where did they not realize the ball was snapped? Like everybody just stopped. Everybody hesitated. And Chase literally walked into the end zone. My grandma could have walked into the end zone with that fucking play. At this point, at this late in the game, at this late in the season, I know it's only 5 weeks, but no more moral victories. We need wins. We just need wins. And everybody's already hopping off the Wentz wagon again. It just oh my God, it's just a roller coaster ride, and it's only been 5 weeks. So, other than that, how you been?
I just watched the game at my local bar. Didn't really drink that much today. Last week I was sloshed. I told myself I wouldn't do it again. I was watching the game. It was a very entertaining game. I took the over 44 in this game, so that was pretty easy. Got that a little bit after halftime, so that was a win. But, other than that, the defense played great in the beginning of the game. And then all of a sudden, they just got away from whatever they did. And from that point forward, the Steelers just completely did whatever they wanted to us. It was like whatever, just pick and choose. You're scoring 38 points on us. Just pick and choose. Like Claypool, 4 touchdowns. You couldn't literally double team the guy that was working against us the whole fucking day. He had 4 touchdowns. 4. All right? You couldn't do anything. You couldn't try to go to bring Darius Slay on Juju Smith-Schuster. You couldn't do that. I mean, it just bugs me, dude. It just bugs me. You couldn't go one-on-one on Juju, and you couldn't have someone else double team. What's his face? Claypool. Like I just don't understand it, bro. I'm trying to find excuses to make me feel better about this, but like you said, there's no moral victories. It's just annoying at this point. We never beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field. We never beat them in Heinz Field. the stadium opened up in 2000, and I feel like, what are we, 0-3 now? Like, it's terrible, dude. I just don't understand. Because you said that people are hopping off the Wentz wagon. One thing I don't understand, and one thing I'll never get is the people that are bashing Carson Wentz. What fucking game were you watching today? You know, I am the biggest pessimist when it comes to this quarterback, and I just don't understand. Like, the throw to Zach Ertz stopped running. Like, literally stopped running. This guy wants to get paid big money, and he's not running correct routes. Like, fuck, that's the only thing he was good at doing, and he can't even do that. This guy, this is his last year here. Guys, Philadelphia Eagles Nation, this guy is not coming back next year. He's not, because he's gutless, he's heartless, he's sackless, and he's not a tight end in my book. And if you're gonna put him up there with the blocking tight ends like George Kittle and Travis Kelce, shame on you, because this guy isn't half of what those guys are. And I'm just so sick. I'm so sick and tired of all the comparisons to the best tight ends in this league. It's not even fair. It's not close. And Zach Ertz has always been a fucking overrated player. Thank you for winning us the Super Bowl on that third down play. I'll never forget it. But at the same time, fuck you. You're gutless. You're heartless. Go do another fucking commercial with your wife. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. I want him gone. I want some fresh blood here. And 25-year-old Travis Fulgham is that guy. He showed that heart out there, and I loved every single second of it.
For me, it's like, I pointed out that play as well with the Zach Ertz. He was more concerned with making sure that call got called, which obviously it didn't, than actually trying to go make a play. Like, maybe they get it a call because you're running your route and it gets stopped. When you stop after contact, they don't know what's going on. They didn't throw the flag. They should have thrown the flag. It should have been illegal contact. There's one interception right there that shouldn't have counted. The interception at the end of the game, T.J. Watt was getting pressure on him. He chucked it up. It's fourth down. The game's really out of reach right there, and it would have took a miracle to come back anyway. So people that want to use this as an excuse, your box score readers, stop being stat slaves. Like, I use that word all the time. Stop being stat slaves. Actually watch the game. Take a step back, watch the game. Carson played particularly well, especially against a great defense that, you know, I told you guys, this offensive line, while PFF or whoever may have rated it well, I've seen a lot of things that people weren't seeing where the pressure was getting there, but Wentz was doing enough to make sure that he avoided the pressure and making the right plays, even against the 49ers defense where maybe he only threw for 200 yards, but he was evading the pressure all single day, and it made the offensive line look good. It made the PFF grades look good. Well, now you have T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, and the rest of the crew there that were getting the pressure on Carson Wentz. He still threw for over 250 yards. You know, he did his job for the most part, but unfortunately, the defense, Jim Schwartz, and fucking Nate Gary, like, what is it where we cannot play Sean Bradley or Davion Taylor? Are these two rookies that bad? Like, at this point, we're 5 weeks into the season. Nate Gary has been putrid for long stretches during games. Not even like every single game. Long stretches of every single game. Let's put in Sean Bradley. Let's put in Davion Taylor. I know there's no offseason. I know there was no rookie mini camp, but by now they should know the playbook. Even Jim Schwartz said he simplified the playbook because he's got so many new weapons on defense. Well, Sean Bradley and Davion Taylor are new weapons as well. If you simplified the playbook, why can't they get on the field still? I don't understand why Jim Schwartz refuses to throw him into fire. Maybe it's a Doug Peterson move. Maybe it's a Howie Roseman move. Maybe it's a Jim Schwartz move. Whatever the case may be, these two need to start playing more.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. And the thing that bothers me the most, I don't usually bring off the field issues, but on Twitter, someone found a racist tweet from Nate Gary, all right, on Twitter. And my problem with this is usually, you know, you have the player apologize. I understand that. He apologized. He tweeted out. But the guy's not even good at playing football. You know, why would you carry baggage with you when the guy literally can't make a simple stop? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can understand, like, let's go to the Milwaukee Brewers in baseball. I can understand if you have Hatter, their closer, one of their setup men in baseball. He said the same exact thing that Nate Gary said. He said the N-word, all right? He said the same exact thing that he said, but Hatter is actually used in the game. He apologized when Nate Gary can't even make a simple fucking tackle at times. He can't cover anybody. I don't understand. Why would you want to carry around baggage when the guy's not even good? That's one thing I'll never get about it. And usually I don't like when people attack someone over a tweet that was made 8 years ago and the guy was 17 years old. But at the same time, it's like you should have used this as an excuse to get him off the football team, because you can't tell me that you can't put in a player that's just not as good, or if not better than what he brings to the table, which isn't much every single week. And he literally costs us games every single week. Against the Rams, 3 touchdowns against Higbee, couldn't cover him. All right? This week, Claypool, 4 touchdowns, couldn't cover him, couldn't do anything. It's just like, can you just get rid of the guy already? He's not a baller. He can't play. I don't understand why they bring on this talent that's not even talent. I don't understand why they bring on these players that just don't have it. Like, there has to be someone better out there. I'll never get it. I'll never understand it. Maybe it's the Jim Schwartz scheme that he fits. But if he fits a scheme, clearly he's not the right guy for it, because he can't play. So I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you would want to carry this shit around with you. I don't. And you know what? I'm just done with that, because Nate Gary, he's probably going to be here next week. Jim Schwartz going to be here next week. It's not going to change. We're going to play Baltimore. We're going to get our ass kicked. And I'm just sick and tired of seeing this bullshit. I wish the division wasn't this bad so I could just look forward to next year, but unfortunately that's not the case. I'm a pissed off Eagles fan that's going to be pissed off every single week because our schedule is just getting tougher. And last week's win was just such a fluke, because this defense, they're fool's gold. The beginning of this game, they looked good, and at the end, they looked like shit. And that's what it's going to be next week, I think. I feel like we're going to be on top of Baltimore early, and then we're going to lose by fucking 50. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful, and I'm sick of it.
All right, so I'm going to get off track a little bit right here, because I do want to give, and I know you're going to laugh at me when I say this, I do want to give a little bit of credit to Howie Roseman. He may not be able to nail his picks. He may not get the right ones that he needs to get right, the elite talent, the first rounds, the second rounds, the third round picks. But when it comes to finding diamonds in the rough, the Greg Wards, the Travis Fulghams, the Alex Singletons, he's been nailing those picks. Now, if we could get somebody in the room with him that really helps him along the way and helps get these drafts, maybe Doug's input needs to be decided a little more inside that room. Maybe he needs to get a little bit more of a say. But Howie Roseman's doing a great job picking up those no names that everybody else has refused to give a chance to. Even during the Super Bowl run, we picked up Corey Graham, we picked up LeGarrette Blount. These are guys that weren't going to be on other NFL teams up until that year. And we decided to take, chances on these guys, and it worked out. So when it comes to stuff like that, it's worked out for Howie Roseman. But my issue is you see that there's a lack of talent on this field. Like, Travis Fulgham is nice. He would be a nice third piece, not a nice number one piece. So for me, we need to nail some picks. We need to get the right guys in there. Carson Wentz looked good. Miles Sanders looked good. He had a couple of missed opportunities, but so did John Hightower. So did Carson Wentz. There was a couple of missed opportunities by everybody. If anything, if you get some talent in there, it's going to elevate everybody else's play. It's going to find everybody else open. So, I want to give him some credit for doing those type of things, because we always bash him. But other than that, Howie Roseman needs to get some fucking talent on this team.
Well, that's another thing you just brought up. John Hightower, he needs to get the hell off the field. All right, he's unathletic. He can't run. Everyone's blaming Carson Wentz for overthrowing him on that play. Well, let me just tell you something. If that were Jalen Reagor or Deshaun Jackson, they would have caught that ball, because he's not going to dumb down his passes. He's not going to throw it shorter because the guy can't catch it. He doesn't have the speed to catch it. He's going to throw his ball thinking that the wide receiver is going to be there to catch it and potentially go for 6. That's his job. His job isn't to accommodate a receiver picked in the 5th round that's on the field because other talent's injured. That's not his job. His job is to throw the ball that he was drafted to throw. And that's what the fan base doesn't get. Hightower should not be on the football field. The guy stinks. He doesn't have it. He can't track balls. He just needs to be replaced immediately. I love what Fulgham has brought. All right, everyone's comparing him to Terrell Owens now. I love it because it's a bright spot. He's looked great the last 2 games, and he's been really clutch, especially in the San Fran game. But Fulgham, I'm going to be honest with you. I like Fulgham, but I'm not ready to label him fucking Randy Moss just yet. I'm not. He needs to stay consistent. He had a great game today. He got picked out of Old Dominion. And yeah, and that's all I have on that. But Hightower, bomb. Get him out of here. I'd rather have JJ. I'd rather have JJ. And that guy does nothing. You cannot have Hightower on the field. The guy just does not have what it takes to be a professional wide receiver in the NFL.
I just don't understand it. It is basics. Get back to fundamentals. You catch the ball with your hands. You've seen Fulgham, and we're going to keep bringing his name up because he did have a great game, and credit needs to go where credit's due. Every time he went up to the high point of the ball, grabbed it with his hands. Not once did you see Travis Fulgham use his body to try to catch a ball. You take a look at that deep ball in the end zone. What did Hightower do? He didn't pinpoint the high end of the ball, and he tried to use his body. He tried to underarm catch it. Use your hands. Your hands are there for a reason. Any great receiver, Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, whatever you want to call him, Randy Moss will always tell you, catch the ball with your hands and not with your body. This is a basic fundamental in John Hightower being a new guy, but this is something going back to high school you should learn.
Pee-wee.
You need to catch the ball with your hands and not with your body. So that was one thing that upset me. Like I said, there's a lot of good things to take away from this game. The defense looked good in spurts. The offense looked good in spurts. We had a little bit of dry spells on both sides of the ball. But like I said, there's no moral victories week 5 in the season. We need W's. That's whether we're 1-3-1 and the Cowboys are 1-4 or 2-3. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
We need W's. I need W's because we're not competing for just the NFC East. We're competing for a playoff spot. We're competing for a Super Bowl. And like Joe Douglas, everybody's man, I know he said some wrong things, but Joe Douglas says if you're not competing for a Super Bowl year in and year out, then what the hell are you doing? The Eagles aren't competing for an NFC East title at 7-8-1 or whatever their ending record may be. They're competing for a Super Bowl. So keep that in mind when you're watching this team. And tell me, does it look like a Super Bowl team right now, 5 weeks into the season?
Nope. And that's another thing. I hate the losing mentality out of this fan base. What happened to the fan base that wanted to fire people in week 3 of the NFL season because they weren't getting the job done when the team was 2-1? All right? I don't get this fan base. I don't understand how soft they've gotten. Maybe it's because we won the Super Bowl. But this team right here, right now, you should want every player and every coach at every single position to be on the hot seat right now. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Carson Wentz. Don't care if it's Miles Sanders. Don't care if it's Doug, Schwartz, Howie Roseman. Do not care, all right? Our losing mentality, it's been enough. I'm sick of it. This team is not contending for a world championship this year, and that's what it's always been about, all right? I don't care about going to the playoffs. Never have, never will. If you go to the playoffs and you're not good enough to win, what good is it? All right. I don't want to go to the playoffs because it's extra time where I don't want to waste in my life watching a team that just doesn't have it. They don't have what it takes, and this team just does not have what it takes. And I'm not just going to say right now they don't have what it takes for this season. And that's why winning last week may have actually hurt us because in the grand scheme of things, we need the best pick possible in next year's draft. And today we looked fucking terrible. And the reason why I say terrible, and thank you for the super chat, Gino Morgan TV, I really appreciate it. $2 goes towards the Fly Like an Eagle podcast. The reason why I say, I completely forgot what I said. What was I saying? I was kind of wrong. I was kind of talking about the reason why I said I can't believe what I forgot.
I'm going to add on to what you said. You ranted about how, making the playoffs is not enough. Making the Super Bowl is the ultimate goal. Let's take a look at last year. Did you think last year's team was a Super Bowl team? Most of us did not.
No,
and I believe, Kyle, you did not as well. You know what the difference was in winning the NFC East and not winning the NFC East? I'll give you a hint. CeeDee Lamb was the difference between winning the NFC East and not winning the NFC East.
It's huge.
So put that in perspective for you Eagles fans. Would you rather make the first round of the playoffs and lose to the Seahawks, or would you rather have CeeDee Lamb this year? And I know you like Jalen Reagor, so this is not a knock on Jalen Reagor. this is just saying you could have had CD
CeeDee
Lamb,
Lamb.
or you would have been in a position to bump up and possibly get, Henry Ruggs or even Jerry Jeudy, which I thought Jerry Jeudy in this Carson Wentz system would have been perfect because he runs precise routes, and Carson Wentz throws it exactly where his receiver is supposed to be. That's why you see so many miscommunications, so many interceptions. That's why I like Jerry Jeudy perfectly for this team. But when you look at this team and you know that they're not a Super Bowl caliber team, just remember the difference between winning the NFC East and not winning the NFC East is coming down to, do you get CeeDee Lamb or do you not get CeeDee Lamb?
Oh, this is what I was talking about, by the way. I got my train of thought back. If Ben Roethlisberger scores 39 points on you, what do you think Lamar Jackson is going to do to you? Who has mobility? Who has an arm to look downfield? Who has the visuals to look downfield? What do you think Lamar Jackson, last year's MVP, is going to do to you when Big Ben is putting 39 points on you? Like, what do you think is going to happen next week? This is what I'm talking about. Last week, winning probably put us in one of the worst positions ever, because when you win a football game in the NFL, it goes from 8th pick to 2nd pick. It's inches. It's a game of inches when it comes to the draft. And when this team isn't good enough to compete, when this team is always injured, when these players, you can't rely on any of these players, you need that draft pick. You need to at least get that draft pick to where you could trade for some value. And that's just one thing I'll never understand with this fan base. I understand this fan base wants to win games. I understand that. I don't like losing. I hate losing with a passion. I always want to break something in my car, break something in my room whenever we lose. But you have to look at the grand scheme of things like I was talking about. This team right now is not set up to win a championship, and that's what it's all about. This is what Doug Peterson said, the new normal, all right? Do you want this to be the new normal? Because I don't. This team is flat out disgraced right now. They put up 29 points today. Any team in the NFL, any good team in the NFL should have won today's game putting up 29 points on the road. They should have won. And the Pittsburgh Steelers putting up almost 40 over our 29, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling going forward, especially when our schedule is so brutal, and I don't see how this team makes the playoffs. I mean, honestly, the division does suck, but I'm gonna look closely at this Dallas and Giants game when I get off the phone, because Dallas can score a ton of points, but the defense is just as bad. It's a weird year, dude. It's a really weird. It's a weird year, and I just feel like I want the best draft pick possible. But I know this team is just gonna reel us in, and that's why I hate being an Eagles fan sometimes. But I don't know, bro. I just don't know.
It's hard not to be reeled in, especially seeing how well at times they played against. Don't forget, this is a very, very, very talented defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this offense, with all the injuries, with as, average as that offensive line played, we still looked very well offensively against a great Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So, yeah, I realize this in. Then you look around the rest of the NFC East, and they're all bumming it right now, and it's hard not to want to root for the Eagles to win. I will always root for the Eagles to win, but right now I'm trying to remind everybody the difference between last year and winning the NFC East and not winning the NFC East was either get CeeDee Lamb or Jalen Reagor, and that's not a knock on Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor is injured right now. He could come back and be the stud that you thought Justin Jefferson was going to be, or CeeDee Lamb, or Jerry Jeudy, or Henry Ruggs, who just went off. Man, Nelson Aguilar even looked good, but he needed a change of scenery. That's a different story for a different day. But the defense, I don't know what Jim Schwartz is doing. I don't know if he's still dumbing down the playbook because everybody's learning it because of COVID, whatever. I'm tired of making excuses. There's no more moral victories. This team was very beatable. I thought they were able to be stopped on the offensive side of the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do not fear Big Ben at all, but we let them kill us by 1,000 cuts. They literally killed us by 1,000 cuts. They put their ball into playmakers' hands, and guess what? Playmakers came up big.
Yep. And look at that. I know you just gave Howard Roseman some credit, but he passed on Claypool to get off Hurts. So
that's what I'm saying. He needs to nail the high picks. Where the elite talent is, he needs to nail it. It's great to be able to nail the 45th best player on our team. Yeah. But let's nail the top 10, top 15 best players on our team.
which we
Let's
haven't
do
done.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like this is a good comment I see right here. Danny Lukenheimer, a regular on the show. Well, regular watches the show. This team is going to be a roller coaster all season long. We won't be good enough to contend, but not bad enough to get a high draft pick. We're stuck in mediocrity, and you just nailed it right there. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, do I want to lose? No, I don't want to lose. Who the hell wants to lose? What do you watch the games for? You don't watch the games to lose. But the fact of the matter is, this team just isn't good enough to contend. So if you're not good enough to contend, what do you want? What do you want to just start from scratch and just build a team from the bottom up, the ground up? Like I understand you have Carson Wentz on that contract, but if you want to make this team better, build with Fulgham, build with Wentz, build with Miles Sanders, and then just add on to that. All right, don't worry about your fucking cap situation because it's going to be hell. Next year is going to be hell. So you have to cut some meat. You have to cut some of the fat off, like immediately. You have to cut some of the fat off, and we have to look into getting rid of Zach Ertz and players like that because these players just do not contribute anymore. Zach Ertz doesn't block. We need him to block. He doesn't block, and hell, he doesn't even catch anymore. And I understand a lot of people like Zach Ertz, but I've been down on this guy for like the last 2 years. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like there's better options out there. The guy wants to get paid too much. He's probably, if he's having a fit, and the reason why he's not playing well is because of his contract situation, that's another reason just to ask somebody. Because you cannot have a mindset like a fucking 4-year-old girl going into a football game against a bunch of grown ass men and play that way if it's about your contract. And I'll have a big ass problem with that. But yeah, Zach Ertz, in my opinion, this is his last year, Zach.
To add on to that, we run the most 12 personnel, and for those of you that don't know what 12 personnel is, that's 2 tight ends on the field. We still continue to run it. Even with Dallas Goedert out. Let's go back to every single team in the NFL. How many have 2 great tight ends? We don't need 2 great tight ends.
Nope.
We can have Dallas Goedert and Richards on the team. We can have Dallas Goedert in a quote-unquote, going back to our past, L.J. Smith. We don't need a dominant 1-2 punch at the tight end. And I like Zach Ertz, but if we can trade him away and get whatever we can get, a 3rd round, 4th round pick, whatever we can get at this point, I think that might be more valuable. Unfortunately, if Howie's making that pick, we might not get value out of it, but we don't need 2 top 10 tight ends. Take a look at San Francisco. They have 1 tight end, and they do great. Take a look at Kansas City. They have 1 tight end. They do great. Take a look at that New England dynasty. They had 1 tight end. They did great. During the Aaron Hernandez years, I don't even think they won a Super Bowl.
No, exactly. And the thing is, like, I see week in and week out, I always give him harsh criticism when it comes to Zach Ertz. And everyone's like, what are you doing? This guy's a dynamic player. Well, I don't see where the dynamic aspect is coming from because dynamic to me is someone that can make big plays down the field. And this guy can't even do a simple out and in route. Like he can't do a simple route that you can do. Like that's the problem I have. You're getting bumped and then you stop with your route. All of a sudden, Carson Wentz throws that pick to I think it was Bud Dupree. I can't really remember. And that's all she wrote. Zach Ertz definitely hurt this team today, and he far from helped it. And if he wants to get paid the big bucks, I don't know where that's coming from. I really don't. I've always thought he was overrated. I've always thought he wasn't a tight end. I thought he was a slower wide receiver playing in the tight end position. I don't get the hype over the guy. Never have, never will. Even the touchdown pass that he caught, he almost ruined it for us by dropping it. So I never really got it. But I guess it is what it is. People love mediocrity, and I guess we're going to continue with it.
I will say, the kid from the CFL, the Canadian Football League star, Alex Singleton, I know he hasn't been playing at an elite level at the linebacker position, but I like what he brings. He is chasing after the ball. He is attempting to make plays. He is flying to wherever the ball may be. And that's what you need from your linebackers in a Jim Schwartz system is guys that just go after and get the ball. We don't need to put linebackers on tight ends. We can put Jalen Mills on a tight end. We could put NRC on a tight end. We don't need a linebacker on a tight end, but we need our linebackers to be able to cover 50 yards from sideline to sideline and from, end zone to end zone. We need that kind of impact. One of our goals in the offseason was to get faster. We got faster at the linebacker position. Why aren't they on the field? Why aren't they all flying to the ball? Why isn't Davion Taylor on the field? Why isn't Sean Bradley on the field? We've seen what Alex Singleton can do. We've seen what he could do in the Canadian Football League. We've seen what he could do, during all this other stuff. Like, he's just worked his way up the depth chart, and now he's flying up after the ball. You know, we need other guys to fly after the ball, and Nate Gary is not that guy. I'm sorry.
Nope.
He's not. He just needs to not be on the team anymore. If he wants to be special teams, by all means, be special teams. But I need to see Davion Taylor and Sean Bradley really soon, because I have a feeling those guys are both high energy, high motor guys. They're going to make quite a bit of difference, at least in terms of what we've seen so far from Nate Gary and the rest of the linebacking core.
Yeah, and you see how we beat San Fran last week at home? Well, on the road.
Yep.
They're losing 14-0 to the Dolphins right now. So, you want to talk about another Foles Gold situation? That's another one. You know, Nick Mullins was trash. CJ Beathard's probably worse, and that win means nothing to me now. Even though I won a lot of money on it, that win literally means nothing to me now, because we looked like shit today. And what did I say going into the game? Pittsburgh's not a good football team. They might be 4-0, but I hate to use this expression over and over and over again, or these words over and over and over again. But fool's gold. It's a fool's gold 4-0, because that's not really a good football team. I hate to break it to you. They're not. They're a completely beatable football team, and anyone with defensive pressure can get to Big Ben and just put him on his ass. So,
Giants game.
yeah,
Sorry.
Giants are up in that game.
You're absolutely right. It was fool's gold, and to be honest with you, I'm still reeled in, because you take a look at the rest of the NFC East, and they look terrible. You take a look at the team throughout this game, they looked great at certain points. And, you know, I wouldn't say Big Ben beat us. I think the defense beat us. Our own defense beat us by giving exactly what Big Ben was going to do. He doesn't have that strong arm. He's not going to throw deep all the time. He literally killed us, death by 1,000 cuts. We've seen it with New England year after year after year with Tom Brady. That's what Big Ben's doing. They're relying on the run game, which looked really good against our defense, and they're relying on death by 1,000 cuts. So it wasn't Big Ben that beat us. It was their playmakers that beat us. It was the X factor that I can't even think of his name with the end around. It was Chase Claypool with 4 touchdowns. Like, that stuff cannot happen, especially since they weren't really passing the ball down the field. They were giving everything underneath. Even Darius Slay, our number 1 corner, and I'm not going to criticize him because he's played up to our standards and then some. But, you know, you see him playing that far off because he can't trust help over the top. So he's playing that far back because he knows Claypool's speed. So he's playing that far off, and he can't trust anybody over the top.
No.
And that's exactly what Big Ben took every single thing. He was patient. He showed veteran leadership, took everything underneath, didn't force anything, and that's exactly how they won the game against us.
Yeah. And Electrical Strike saying you guys didn't get blown out. Well, it kind of feels like it to me. I mean, it was a good game. Don't get it wrong. But at the same time, when you're trying to kick a 56-yarder with Jake Elliott at the end of the game, when I think the longest field goal in Heinz Field history was 57 yards, and this stadium's been around for 20 years, it's just the wrong play at the wrong time. You know, because it is very difficult to kick field goals in that stadium. You were better off just going for it or punting it away at that point. And that's what fucked us. Right there, that's literally just what fucked us.
Now, I'm not 100% an analytics guy. I like to use analytics in terms of making a value decision. But what happened to analytics with Doug Peterson? What happened to, all right, if I go for it on 4th down 5 times, I'm going to make it 3 out of 5. You know, it's worth the risk. And feel the momentum. That's what goes into it. You feel the momentum, you check the analytics, you make a decision. What happened to that Doug Peterson? And I thought Doug called a good game. I thought he could have called a better game. I thought there was some plays out there that was missed. Thought there was some play calling that was missed. But other than that, like, what happened to that analytics aggressiveness that we used to see from the offensive side of the ball? I feel like we need that back more.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Giants lead 14-3. That's I have a parlay with the Giants, actually, so that's good news for me. But I don't know, man. Just seeing that right there just goes to show you that the NFC East might get one with 5 wins this year. And it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And it's like, at that point, do you even want to go to the playoffs with 5 wins? Because you're going to get bounced and then all of a sudden you're going to get a mid-round draft pick. So, I mean, I don't know. Do I believe in Fulgham? Yeah, I believe in him. I think he's a beast. The reason why I believe in Fulgham, all right, there was this one play where he caught the pass from Carson Wentz. It was a short pass, and the defender was coming in on him, and he just bounced right off of him. That's the kind of receiver that you want on your football team. You don't want some scrawny scrub that can't break tackles, can't give you hope, and just falls down right when he gets touched. Like, Fulgham is that perfect big body receiver that you definitely want on your team. Now, can he be this consistent? I think he can. I think he can keep the consistency from what I've seen, because I haven't seen him drop the pass yet. I haven't seen him drop any balls. And when you're catching balls, you have a big body, you can run fast, and you're smart. That is a dynamic wide receiver. And I'm just going to say this right here, right now. If he keeps this up, he will be a Pro Bowler in less than a year.
All right, I'm not going to jump that high on Travis Fulgham. I think he's a very nice piece. I think he could be maybe even as high as a number 2. I don't think he's a number 1, but right now on this team with all the injuries, he needs to be the number 1, and he's being that safety blanket that Zach Ertz once was for this team. And I talked about before, look at this wide receiver room. Who is that go-to guy on third down, third and medium, third and long? Yep. Who's that go-to guy? And from the looks of it, the last 2 games, I know he only had 2 catches last game. He's got over 100 yards this game. It was Travis Fulgham. And if Travis Fulgham can be that security blanket, if he can be our Jason Avant for Carson Wentz, then I'm all in. I'm all in on Travis Fulgham. Now we just need to be able to build around and get those dynamic guys around him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. With that being said, we're going to get on out of here. We're almost at 37 minutes, and it was a good show. We had a lot to let loose. And I know you're pissed off about the loss. I'm pissed off about the loss. I'm going to try to watch these games. The Giants will probably win by 50 because that's just what happens. You expect a team to fucking lose, and they win by 1,000. So that's usually what happens. But anything else you have to say, Zach, before we go?
As always, stay happy, stay healthy, go Birds.
All right, go Birds. We will see you guys I'll see you on Tuesday, but I'll be back here with Zach on Thursday. Hopefully you guys enjoy the channel, the stream. If you're in here, give everything a likes up. Give this stream a like up, a thumb up. Whatever you got to do, subscribe, like the Facebook page, Twitter, whatever you got to do, just smash that thumbs up button. And we'll see you guys on Thursday.